Hello, everyone, and welcome to Give Me Some Good News, the best way to start your day in travel and tourism. As always, I'm your host, Caleb, and today is a special episode because this is good news from TTRA. And I am here with someone who has some good news off the bat. Jim Petrick, thank you so much for joining me from Texas A&M University. You've got some good news today because you are a fellow. Tell me,
Yeah,
tell me about that.
it's the inaugural class for Travel and Tourism Research Association. So I think it means I'm old. Uh, I've put my years in, and I've been going to this conference for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So I've done all I can to help this conference out, and I guess that's them in
Saying
some
thank
way
you.
rewarding me and creating a brand new club. And every year after this, there'll be fellows added, and hopefully we can, do good things for good people.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, that career journey has brought you to this point. And so maybe unpack that career journey for me a little bit. Like, tell me about your background and where you are now with Texas A&M.
Yeah, I grew up small town Wisconsin. Um, Thought I'd be a professional golfer. Had an academic scholarship and went to my advisor and said, "Find me the easiest degree in the planet so I can play golf." They found rec management, fell in love with the degree, learned I would never be a professional golfer. Got my first job off of after my undergrad as a professional golfer on a cruise ship.
Nice.
Worked on cruise ships for 6 years, left as a cruise director. Knew I wanted to study travel when I was done. Went back, got a master's degree, and then a PhD at Clemson right here, and got hired at A&M and have a research lab there where we study the psychophysiological benefits of travel.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I like that framing of the benefits of travel because I've always seen travel as restorative. Whether you're doing Shinrin-yoku and forest bathing, or whether you're just like taking, like I took a run this morning on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, right?
Yeah.
And there's something so innately human about travel and tourism and something so restorative. So tell me a little bit about your research and what you're finding and what excites you.
Yeah, travel means we're outside our usual environment.
Yeah.
So daily routines are familiar. So your brain synapses very differently. So at home, you do a lot of things that are almost comatose.
Yeah.
You get out of the same bed, you jump in the same shower, you brush your teeth the same way, same breakfast, jump in the same car, grab your same coffee, go to the same job, and it's routinized.
Hmm.
So brain works differently. The body also works differently. So in your usual environment, stress builds during the day, especially in a work environment, and it doesn't go down. So you may have a steal away for a coffee, you may have a lunch break, but stress builds during the day. And what we know about our heart rate, and that'll be part of my keynote tomorrow, is that on vacation, your heart acts very differently. It goes up, comes way down, goes up, comes way back down. Where at work and during a normal day, it never comes all the way back down. So your resting heart rate when you wake up on a work day is at the lowest it's going to likely be until you get home, pet your dog, hug your wife, get your glass of wine. It'll come back down then. And just like, and we'll talk about it tomorrow as well, a good weightlifter will do 3 hard to 6 hard reps and take a rest.
Hmm.
A good runner, you said did you run the trail this
Yep. Yeah.
morning?
Yeah. And I
So
lifted too. I think I saw you in the gym this
I was
morning.
in the gym this
Yeah.
morning. So,
Right on.
as a runner, to get faster, you run short distances quickly,
Hmm.
um, run slow, run fast, run slow. That's how you get quicker, stronger. Same thing happens to your body. So, if you can stress it, stress is actually good,
Yeah.
just like for your muscles when you're lifting weights or your heart when you're running. Stress is good if you have a rest from it.
Yeah.
We also know that there's a large benefit relationship wise. People that you travel with, you become innately closer to.
Hmm.
When your relationships in your usual environment don't have the spark, they don't have the intrigue, they don't have the innovativeness of the day.
Hmm.
It's mundane. So relationships, whether it be a father-child, a mother-daughter, a grandchild, they're sparked by being outside the usual environment.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because what is the first thing you do when you marry someone, right? You go on
Go on
honeymoon.
honeymoon,
What is the thing you look forward to most as a family? It's
family
going on
vacation.
that trip. And so what you're doing is you're saying we have inklings or we have understandings of these as a human condition, but you're actually putting pen to paper and drawing the scientific uses and benefits of travel and tourism in the day-to-day life.
That's correct. So my research is in those three threads for the most part. So it's the relationship benefits, the educative benefits, and the health benefits.
Yeah, and that's great. And so one of the things I'm actually excited about is kind of shifting gears a little bit. I am on the vendor side, but I've been a long time DMO practitioner as well. And as DMO practitioners, right, like we talk about tourism and dollars and jobs and in tax revenue, all important metrics.
Yeah.
But why should we as practitioners start talking about happiness, well-being, and quality of life?
First of all, and you're typically speaking to politicians.
Hmm.
You want to take tax dollars from a pot of money to go to your pot of money.
Right.
And, it's another keynote that I often do is called ROI is a lie.
That's a good one.
Government officials don't believe it. And, most people report ROIs well above two.
Hmm.
And imagine any investment that if you gave it $1, you'd get $2 back the next year. I'd invest my life savings
Yep.
at an ROI of two. At an ROI of 1.2, I would retire 5 years quicker
Right.
because I'm hoping for a 1.10.
Hmm.
So politicians don't believe ROIs that are typically reported at a 6, a 7. I've seen as high as 22. Politicians don't believe it, and because numbers are so large. When we talk about visitation, we talk about jobs, we talk about all these big numbers, they're desensitized, and the word I use is a social script. That's what they expect us to say. And yeah, you're saying the same thing over and over again. Well, we changed the vernacular to instead of, if we talk about dollars and jobs, they think of dollars as benefiting large companies. They think of jobs in our field being low paying.
Hmm.
If we change the vernacular from DMOs to we're helping the individual,
Yeah.
we're helping them be smarter, we're helping them be healthier, we're helping them be more productive at work, and we're helping their relationships. You're helping the individual. Politicians work for individuals, they work for votes. So changing that discourse so that we're talking about how we can make their constituents better allows us to have them make that decision for do we increase money for education, for fire or police, that maybe those benefits to the individual might be more important for travel than they've thought of as before.
Wow. Yeah, and that to me, when I was on the DMO side, we're looking at KPIs every year, right?
Mhm.
And I don't think we truly took into account the vitality of the people who visit or just the resident sentiment on how we're feeling as, these tourism assets that we get to enjoy, how they're increasing our quality of life. And going back to the Swamp Rabbit Trail a minute, I had Dwayne Parrish on the podcast. And we were talking about the revitalization of Greenville and kind of where it's
Mhm.
kind of, I mean, just having that asset out there that you can get on and bike from here to Travelers Rest, 27 miles
Yeah.
and back. I mean, that's huge. And I think we as destination marketing practitioners can do a better job of telling a story of the intangibles. I think there's a line to draw between we need to have KPIs to a degree that are believable and
Yeah.
accurate, to your point,
Yeah.
but also we need to start painting a bigger picture of the restorative aspects of travel and how it can change someone's life and how the resident feeling of how where they live is becoming a better place, how that story is told as well to politicians. I think you're really hitting the nail on the head there.
Yeah, and I don't know how many governors conferences I've spoke at, but the people who are talking at those are saying the exact same words.
Yeah.
And it's not it's hard to have impact or change perception when you're telling the same story over and over again.
Yeah. Do you have an example of like a DMO who started changing that narrative a little bit?
So we're trying to in Texas,
Hmm.
and it's slow. Um, you know, they I get to talk to because I'm in Texas, I get to talk to those people. So I think they believe it. I think U.S. Travel Association did a push for a little while when David Huther was there,
Hmm.
and they helped fund some of our research. So the narrative is out there. The choir's got to be formed yet
Yeah.
so that the public knows it. And that's my keynote is about developing that choir.
Yeah.
So there are places, Malaysia government requires when you get divorced, they don't allow you to have a full to be considered for divorce until they've paid for a 2 week vacation for you
Wow.
because they know of the benefits. There are plenty of doctors around the planet, Mayo Clinic in particular, that understand the role of hospitality and the role of travel, and they promote it. There are plenty of educators that understand the brain synapses differently. So there are a lot of universities, including mine, that promote study abroad, knowing that we can teach better outside that classroom. At the DMO level, it's typically the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
The other areas are finding DMOs are they're doing what everyone else is doing, and they're in their comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, like growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. And I think as an industry, if we're too comfortable, then we're not pushing the envelope. And I like these kind of conversations because I think at the end of the day, and that one of the reasons I like TTRA in general is when you get educators, practitioners, and vendors together, we've kind of got this overlap and a Venn diagram of where we all meet in the middle and where we can all help each
Yeah,
other out.
yeah,
And I think with these kind of conversations, when you're thinking about quality of life, when you're thinking about the restorative healing of travel, that's huge. And a lot of times I think we hear about this within nature, right? Like Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing, that kind of thing. Like there is true psychological and physical benefits, but we never think about the holistic thought of taking a vacation, right? We
right.
never think about like going to somewhere different is going to benefit me because X.
Yeah,
And that's a story that I think we can tell more and more. Doing things like on the practical side, like I talked about this on another podcast, but talking about the 2026 and the year of PTO, just because of the way it backs
yeah.
up against like all the holidays being on the weekends, using your time off. And I think destinations can do a better job of telling that story of like, hey, spend your PTO in our destination and make sure you take it. And again, speaking to this and speaking to your research would be huge.
Yeah, and there is a downside to all of this.
Mm,
Should we, get this choir out there and everyone starts traveling, then we have sustainability problems.
yeah,
We're in an amazing downtown area, Greenville, and it's extraordinary what they've done here. For those that were here 20 years ago to see how it's transformed, but it's to me, an incredibly copacetic spot right now where the right amount of visitors for the right place.
hmm,
If you increase visitation here 20%, this is no longer the utopia that it is now.
right,
So a bigger part of this picture is not only getting people to travel, but to travel sustainably, to make sure that we're going to destinations that need visitors versus those that are overbooked already.
yeah,
And that's tough on the DMO side because your job is to fill hotels
right,
and all of the attractions their job are to get a bigger ticket,
right,
and there's some need to think for the grander good as well.
yeah.
So that's a bigger part of the picture.
Yeah, absolutely. What is a piece of advice that you would give to a destination CEO who wants to start thinking in this way? Like, what's a good starting point?
Yeah, it's to not have the lead byline on your white sheet be we made this much money last year.
Hmm.
It's we made people healthier, we helped relationships, we made people wiser.
Yeah.
That's a better lead. Um, and I'm a big Simon Sinek fan, and for those that follow Simon, the golden circle.
Hmm.
But all the golden circle says is when we talk about what we do, people don't buy what we do. When we talk about why we do what we do, people buy what we do. And there's biology behind that. The portion of our brain that makes decisions is based on emotion. When we talk about what, we're cognitive. And that's why on social media, when you make a point that might be controversial, everyone who believes you, you're not changing their attitude. They're going to reinforce what you think. But those that think differently than you, when you talk in a what world, those people become more disconnected from you, less attracted to you.
Hmm.
That's why we have so much disconnect politically on social issues, because people fight in a cognitive world instead of an emotional one.
Yeah.
If we start talking the same whys, and if we all understand that the why of building relationships that are strong, the why of being healthier, and the why of being more educated, we share that.
Yep.
So that makes it more inclusive. And if we're going to change decisions, and that includes politicians, it includes all travelers, it includes when we make decisions at our hotel, our restaurant, our attraction. If we talk to why instead, we can change how people behave.
Yeah, absolutely. The emotional connection. To your point, like I was just thinking about this while you're talking, three emotional purchases: a car, a house, and a vacation. I think those three are driven for a lot of people more emotional than pragmatic.
Yeah,
Um, and we can speak to that, right? Like we are the
absolutely.
storytelling industry. Like
Yeah,
there's no reason. One of the best campaigns I recall is I believe it was Idaho. They did the 18 summers campaign, right? And it was you have 18 summers before your kid moves out of the house, right?
yeah,
And it didn't have to be specific to Idaho, but the way they, that campaign, the way that they ran it, it spoke to emotional connection, it spoke to making memories. And I think what you're talking about is the key to take that to the next level, which is why don't we talk about that on a broader scale? Why don't we use it as a
yeah,
KPI when we're reporting to stakeholders? Um, and to your point, some stakeholders take your KPIs with a grain of salt. Others take them wholeheartedly, and I've seen that too, where they're just like, okay, cool, check, done, move on.
mhm,
But again, change and pushing the boundaries creates opportunities for the next generation and for learning and growing. We cannot stay stagnant as an
yeah.
industry.
And you can almost flip-flop that,
Hmm.
what we just said, in politicians' mind, because they often think of the hedonic,
Hmm.
the joy we give, right?
Hmm.
So your KPIs don't talk about joy, but they think of travel as something that satisfies people, makes them happy. That's the emotional side.
Hmm.
We can also talk about the utility, that there's true benefit. So, you know, it's hard to fund things that give joy
Right.
when you're fighting with education, but if they give utility, they're utilitarian, politicians will listen.
Hmm.
So the utility we're giving is the health, the relationships, and the education.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
a great way to think about travel and tourism as a more holistic solution to escaping the drabness of day-to-day life. And
Yeah.
I love the example of lowering the heart rate, lowering the cortisol levels. And again, like I think we forget a lot of times, like we are humans. We are emotional creatures. We connect with other people. We connect with memories. And so why not use that as a KPI? Why not really start
Absolutely.
unpacking these important conversations? Well, Jim, I just want to say thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing a session with me here at TTRA. If people want to learn more about you or find you, where can they do that?
Um, HMGT at tamu.edu, or my email, jpetrick at tamu.edu.
Amazing. And I don't want to forget, there was good news at the top of this show, because obviously, you were selected in the inaugural class of fellows for TTRA. But Jim, we always like to ask our guests if it's personal, if it's professional, anything in between. Can you give us some good news?
Some good news. Yeah, we just got a kitten at home.
Heck
It's
yeah.
the most adorable thing I've ever seen. We've had her for 3 weeks. Little Nessie is amazing. Our dog uh, loves this cat like she's never loved anything before. So it's,
That's awesome.
those are we'll talk about the investment model
Hmm.
during my talk tomorrow, but the more we're invested as a family helps our relationships as well. And this is an amazing investment for us. So that's great
Absolutely.
news.
And as
Plus, I
a
got to meet you today.
Yeah, we did. We got to meet today and
Yeah,
do a pod. I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you. Hop on
yeah.
the podcast." And as a fellow cat dad of two orange tabbies, I
This
congratulate
is
you.
an orange cat.
Let's go. Dude, best
Welcome.
cats.
Yep.
Best cats,
Yep.
period. Well, again, thanks for being on. We're going to go enjoy the best of Greenville, South Carolina. And I look forward to doing it. And I look forward to hanging out with you some more. And I look forward to your talk tomorrow. And this has been some good news.